because of the endemic vision of that party being racist, whether it is or not.
I really don't know. But the bottom line is that they have no real leader to put out to the press.
That's right, yeah.
Therefore, everything goes a bit weird. But currently, there is no winner and no loser. And the fact, if anybody who claims, oh, we've done really well, you haven't. If the other lot claims, I've done really well, you haven't. But in the midterm elections, I can see that the Conservatives have done OK, Labour have done OK, neither of which can go, hey, we're the victors here, because there really isn't one. The only significant...
Can I just put a plea out?
Yes.
Dorothy, you are a Corbynista. Why don't you write us 2 sentences and we'll read them out on what you think's going on?
OK. Well, Steve reckons that the voting shows that the Tories are not such good people, but unfortunately their count is up 6, Steve, so that doesn't work.
It doesn't, Steve, not now. It did before that.
It did before, but it doesn't now. And what it shows is that UKIP are the bad eggs, but the Liberal Democrats have come from nowhere up 37, which is quite fun. In fact, they're close to being as good as the Labour Party in growth.
The thing is also, if you look at it, if you look at the Conservatives with 6 up, which, we're saying is wonderful.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. I've got a complaint to the management.
Oh, all right then.
I'm going to complain to the management. The management is in the Restart restaurant in Podbrad.
Which management?
Martina, Wiltshire.
And that...
And the girls have gone out from the office.
Naughty girls.
To the restaurant. And they are saying...
Which, when I asked, you said didn't exist.
But it's a long way away.
Oh, all right.
And they're saying it's hello from the Restart restaurant in Potbread, yummy, and we have no food. So the office team have gone out.
Yeah, but we have 2 friends.
This is true.
Yeah,
see?
Excuse me, let's paint a picture for a second.
Yes.
You're sitting in a small room with 2 beautiful women who
Sweating.
are absolutely high on life right now, the 2 of you. Your wives can have a nice meal somewhere else. You pull your heads in.
Yeah. You can almost guarantee Rachel's going to bring it down to earth, can't you?
Well, that's because she's Aussie. It's because she comes from a criminal country.
I do. It's convict nation, yeah.
Yeah, hi to Jeff Ridram, who's up in Scotland, I believe. And Robert Dodds is there with us as well. They keep coming in. Now, we are going to change tack completely as we do regularly. We will keep you up to date on the election scores on the doors, but seriously, there is no winner. There is no loser. We're taking the live coverage from our friends at Reuters. Bless their cotton socks.
Can I just have one last remark on here, because I do think it's worth making.
What's that?
We're saying that the Conservatives are doing dreadfully, dreadfully well because they're up 6, and yet the Green Party, who don't have a cat in hell's chance in doing anything, are up 3.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Isn't that amazing?
Is it amazing, or is it very telling?
If you look at the way that they are presenting themselves now, a few years ago the Green Party was, let's save the whale and be a hippie. Now they actually have they have views.
What, Rachel? You saw where I looked.
No, they genuinely have. They have party political speakers on education, on finance, and they are trying to turn themselves into a real political party with a green essence in there.
And it should be the green essence. They should be doing really well. The green essence is something that really matters to every man, woman and child and dog and cat and animal on this planet. And yet they can't actually pull anything off. But at the moment, they're 50% only behind Labour, which is amazing.
Tories?
Sorry, Tories.
Oh, no, and look, they've just the Green Party have just won another seat, as has the Conservative Party. Blimey.
Think that's somebody voting twice?
Could be. No, they're all against that. Hi to Joel, to Hanka. Oh, dobry den, Hanka. Ako so może. Dobry. Hang on, that's that Hanka. Oh, Velky Slavkov, no. Cliff and John. And now...
Cliff?
Cliff.
Is that our Cliff?
Yeah.
Cliff Richard?
No. Stupido.
I'm so sorry.
Stupido.
No, he's off writing letters to the BBC.
I've actually seen him in his, stupidos.
Yes. Oh, my word.
And she's got no pants on now. I've just looked under the desk. He's frightening. Ladies, look away.
Excuse me, am I covered up properly? Am I covered up properly?
No, because you got no pants
We're wearing
on.
just enough.
I'm wearing just enough. You're very quiet.
Oh, this is so wrong when you can only hear it.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, Rach, I think you should take over now because it's going to be girly time.
Yay.
Because I want to introduce...
Gender balance.
Yeah, you might have
Gender
to just
balance.
leave that
Have I got to go away now? I'm being
no,
pushed away again.
No, you're fine. You're very fine. What I think we should do is let Rachel talk to the girls. We have Zana and Gabby in the studio as well, Rach.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And they've written this book called Slovakia, The Legend of the Linden. Now, without being disrespectful to you guys, first of all, most of the audience listening to the programme have no idea what Linden is.
All right, so let me take over.
Yes. Taking over.
The Linden tree is a very, very special tree to the Slovaks and to the Slavs, and the reason being is that the linden tree is actually the national tree of Slovakia and the sacred tree of the Slavic people. Now, the Slavic people are actually the largest ethnic group by landmass in Europe, and we consist of a population of 300 million people.
What?
Which makes the linden tree a very, very, very important plant.
300,000? 300 million?
Yes.
Million?
Yes.
Million?
Yeah.
Which is more than you put the Brits and the Germans and the French together.
Gosh. We did that in stereo, you know. I wonder if it came out in stereo. Hey?
So watch out, people.
And one of the things about the linden tree is that it actually has heart-shaped leaves, doesn't it?
It does have beautiful, gentle, heart-shaped leaves, which is very symbolic for Slovakia, as we are placed in the very heart of Europe.
That's right.
With, do you know, this is turning into an educational programme.
I know, shall we ruin it again?
It can't be normal. So, why did you guys write this book?
Basically, we wrote this book because we were inspired to bring Slovakia into visibility. We're a country that is only 25 years old. Actually, 2018 marks our 25th birthday. Before that, we didn't exist on the map of Europe. So we were essentially non-existent.
But you were close in 1918.
In 1918, now this is the interesting thing. This year is very, very significant for us because not only do we celebrate the 25th anniversary of Slovak independence, but we also celebrate the 100th anniversary of Czechoslovak independence. So what happened is people may not know us because we were in a country on the map of Europe until 1993, but we're actually the descendants of a very ancient nation, of a very ancient culture, which experienced one form of liberalization in 1918 when the Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsed. Now, the Austro-Hungarian Empire is the longest-standing empire in Europe. It was 1,000 years long. Or, Gabriella, correct me here. Correct me here.
It was one of the largest and longest-standing empires in Europe.
The Austro-Hungarian was,
It was originally two empires, but they decided to try to do it together. And they pull it together. It didn't last very long. Was not a very happy marriage, but we made up a significant proportion of Europe together. So the state mattered.
And Gabriella, how many different ethnic groups were part of at least the Kingdom of Hungary, which we were Slovakia formed the northern frontier of? No.
Yes, we did. It's something that most people can't even imagine. That single state was made up of at least 15 different ethnic groups. It spoke 13 languages, so it was enormous diversity. It was a conglomerate.
Rach, just out of interest, because I know there's a fairly good Slovak community in Australia. Did you know anything about the history of Slovakia at all?
I knew nothing about Slovakia at all. I'd heard of Slovakia, but I knew nothing of it until I started doing this show with you 6 years ago.
Blimey.
6 years? Have you done it 6 years?
I know, it feels
Gosh.
like
No, it just feels like yesterday when you started.
But
Sorry,
my point there is, what I picked up on something you were saying.
Sure.
Because you said you wanted to get the name of Slovakia out there.
Yes.
And I I applaud you for that. That's the one thing that's the first thing that counts in my book, because people don't understand the history, the fact that Slovakia was told no for over 1,000 years, because the bottom line is, for over 1,000 years, the Slovaks were under the control of another organisation or group or body, and so you were always pushed down.
Yeah, that's right. So for 1,000 years, we were part of a larger entity. Now, this entity was the Kingdom of Hungary, and later it became the Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which we said was one of the longest standing in Europe. And it was one of the 4 empires that collapsed in Europe after the end of World War I.
Yeah.
So these empires are actually quite recent in terms of their historical imprint. What was your question again?
It's basically, I suppose what I'm saying is, how do Slovaks, other than yourself, actually sell Slovakia to the world? Because I'm going to get shouted at in a minute. The Slovak Tourist Board is about as useful as a chocolate fireguard.
I have to agree, having dealt
there's
with them.
historical reasons for that. Now, we have to understand that Eastern Europe in general, so we're talking the Eastern Bloc, countries that were behind the Iron Curtain, we're not exactly renowned for our marketing skills or for our customer service skills. And that goes back to communism. So for over 4 decades, we had a communist regime here that didn't acknowledge a market economy. So marketing skills was not something that were taught. Every store sold the same products everywhere for the exact same price. So there was no competition. There was no need to brand a product, to give the product a story, to go out and compete and try to recruit more customers to your business, etc. So now that we're part of the free market, we're part of Europe, we're part of the world, we're still kind of catching up to the West. Gabriela, would you like to say something?
Yes, I would like to jump in with the fact that we didn't have to promote anything or anyone. Obviously, we didn't have to promote our country because it was enough that we were friends of the Soviet Union and we had the red government. So there was no need to put people in because our people couldn't leave Czechoslovakia, so they all holidayed in here.
What people don't realise is that to the east of Slovakia, right out to the east, there's actually a pretend beach. It's like a sea.
It's not a pretend beach.
It is a pretend beach.
It's a lake.
It was a lake, but
it's an artificial lake.
An artificial lake, but they turned into look like a seaside beach.
Which one are you talking about?
It's yes.
Zemplínska Širava. Yes.
What you mean? They brought the beach in.
They bought
because we have no sea, and you can't let your people to go and experience the sea, so they made the sea. They bought
loads of sand.
And just to bring this a little bit home, and so that the audience can connect, Gabriela, when was the first time you saw the sea?
This is a good one. So I, for the first time, tasted the saltiness of sea when I was 16.
Oh.
Why is that?
And it's because I grew up behind the Iron Curtain for a while. Then came the 90s, where everything was very wobbly and nobody really had enough money and everything was up in the air.
Just so you know, during the 1990s, especially during the early 1990s, after the regime collapsed, things were really wobbly. I mean, there weren't enough goods in the store. My family, and as well as Gabriela's family, struggled to just find enough money to buy bread and milk. So things were quite dire.
There was no structure at all.
No, and there was to spice it up, there were all these political murders, there was mafia, there was corruption. We had an authoritarian government, so it was not exactly the greatest of times for us, which is why my parents couldn't afford to.
What did your parents do for a living?
My mum was worked in an office, my dad worked in an office too. When things settled down a little, they started their own business.
So they became entrepreneurs?
So they became entrepreneurs, and as their business grew, we could afford to travel and go abroad.
Rach, hold on a minute. Rach, do you want to jump in?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, is this the part where Rachel takes over?
Yes.
The first thing I wanted to say was, can I? I'm not sure which one of you is which because I can't see you.
Sure.
But one of you has got a. Is there a slight American?
Yeah, there is.
Accent?
So That's Zana. That's me speaking. And basically, the reason I have this accent is a rather interesting story. So my parents were really dissatisfied with life under communism. And they took a very risky move where they decided to actually flee the communist regime and illegally cross the border into the West. Now, Slovakia is very interesting in terms of its position, particularly Bratislava, because it's the only capital that's actually physically located on the Iron Curtain. So from at pretty much any point that you are in Bratislava, you're actually looking west and you're